If you were to ask me what the biggest character assassination is in Doctor Who, I'd probably say that it's the Doctor herself in The Timeless Children. However, if you were to ask me what the saddest one was, I would probably point you in the direction of the Doctor's wife, River Song. Introduced in Series 4's critically acclaimed two-parter, Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead, we initially learn of the character as a mysterious figure from the Doctor's future, who seemingly knows the character almost as well as he knows himself, maybe even better. It's no surprise that when Grand Moff the Toff became showrunner, he wanted to bring back such a popular character from such a popular story. But was this the right move, or was she better off as a one-off side character? And most importantly, was she brought back well? I mean, if you've paid attention to this video so far, or the title, or the thumbnail, then you probably already know the answer. But I'd have to ask that question for dramatic effect, like every other WhoTuber there is. So let's take a look at the saddest character assassination in the show, River Song's. Now River has an appearance in 5 series of Doctor Who, Series 4, Series 5, Series 6, Series 7 and Series 9. Now while I don't care for River as a character, I don't think she's bad all of the time. I think in Series 4 she's brilliant. In Series 5 she's okay but not as good as before. In Series 6 she ranges from bad to terrible with one exception, but we'll talk about that later. In Series 7 she's terrible, and in Series 9 she's just mid. And by the way, mid does not mean bad. Please, I know we're all Doctor Who fans, but can we use some common sense? This misconception on what mid actually means drives me mad, but I digress. Like I said, River is brilliant in Series 4. Her character in this two-part story is, again, a mysterious figure who seems to know the Doctor almost impossibly well. You can see in her expression how overjoyed she is to see him in a lot of these scenes. I think one of the standouts for me is when she looks into his eyes in disbelief that she's seeing him at the youngest she ever has. There's so much emotion in the way she looks at him, and I love how heartbroken she seems when he asks her who she is. And all through the story, you can tell the way he looks straight through her is just killing her. It's such an emotional core of the episode that keeps you invested in her. She also knows how to calm him down and deal with him on a personal level, something we're not used to seeing with the Doctor, so it feels impactful, especially with the reveal that he disclosed his own name to her, which is such a brilliantly emotional scene. Their relationship is explored in so much depth throughout this story that makes her feel like such a fascinating character, and throughout this story she is like 15% flirty, by being a tad playful on the side as well as this. But then she comes back in Series 5 and pretty much all of the depth and intrigue behind her is gone. Now she's just 85% flirtatious and 15% everything that made her interesting before. She becomes the standard, typical Stephen Moffat female character, overly sexual and doesn't shut up about it, lacking in any actual depth beyond that, and this lack of an emotional tether to her character ruins so many of her scenes from before, because now she just doesn't feel like the same person anymore. Also bear in mind how overjoyed she was in Silence in the Library to see the Doctor younger than she'd ever seen him before, yet when she sees the 11th Doctor, who from an out-of-universe perspective is literally the youngest Doctor, she has no reaction whatsoever. They could have used this concept to great effect and maybe even gone a bit meta with it, but they don't do anything. In the entire Weeping Angels two-parter, The Time of Angels and Flesh and Stone, she doesn't get any meaningful moments with the Doctor that land all the same way as in the library. Like I said, the flirtatious aspect of River's personality has just taken over her entirely now. None of the depth from before is still there. At no point in this story does she share any genuinely emotional moments with the Doctor, where you see the extent of their relationship, whereas with Series 4, you could see the extent in almost every scene they shared together. This takes away so much from River's previous self. At best, River is okay in this story. At worst, she is downright irritating. Like this scene at the start of the story, where she's boasting about being able to fly the TARDIS, better than the Doctor can. It's the exact same problem that we'd constantly be running into with Clara later down the line, in which the character is just annoyingly overpowered and smug about it to the point where they're just grating. While River being able to fly the TARDIS is important for the finale at the end of that series, the explanation for how she's able to fly it so well in Series 6 is just downright stupid, but more on that later. If you wanted to have this scene of River being able to fly the TARDIS so well, since like I said it is important for the Pandorica Opens, then why not take this as an opportunity to create a genuinely emotional moment for the 11th Doctor and River, as she describes him teaching her how to fly it and how that brought them closer together. We could have had a scene with the same emotional quality as we got in the library two-parter. But no, instead we just get River making a joke about it.
I had lessons from the very best.
Well, yeah.
It's a shame you were busy that day.
Speaking of unnecessary jokes, like I said, River is overly sexualised throughout Moffat's tenure on the show, which gets very annoying very quickly. Here's a quick compilation, and by the way, when you're watching this, bear in mind that River knows her entire life that Rory and Amy are her parents, and she says most of this stuff in front of at least one of them.
Like I said on the dance floor, you might want to find something to hang on to.
I dated an Estine duplicate once. Swappable head. Do keep things fresh.
Watch out, that bow tie. Look at that. Now that's fun. From every angle. Be careful.
Careful. Tried that once. Ever so dull.
You said he was funny. You never said he was hot.
Mel! How can you be engaged in a manner of speaking?
Well, sucker for a man in uniform.
But she'll definitely kill at least the first 3 of you.
Well, the first 7 easily.
7, really?
I'll 8 for you, honey.
Stop it.
Make me.
Yeah, well, maybe I will.
What do you think, by the way?
Of what?
Her body.
I'll let you know. I've only seen the face.
Okay, Moffat, we get it. You're extremely horny for this character. Now, will you please write with both hands? Now, to be fair, River does have one scene in The Impossible Astronaut where she feels more like her Series 4 self, when she has a really good moment with Rory where she describes the impossibility of her relationship with the Doctor. And she actually talks more like she did before and has a really well written speech that conveys the emotion of their relationship really well. It's just a shame that a few minutes earlier she said this.
Shout if you get in trouble.
Don't worry. I'm quite the screamer. Now there's a spoiler for you.
River constantly blurting out comments like this makes her harder to take seriously as a character, and means a lot of the more emotional moments, both before and after, don't land nearly as well as they should, which is frustrating at best and tragic at worst. And I want to draw attention to another scene of River that fundamentally ruins her as a character. In the absolute piece of garbage that is The Angels Take Manhattan, there's a scene where River breaks her wrist to get out of the Weeping Angel's grip. The Doctor uses a bit of regeneration energy to heal her hand, partly because, well, you know, she's his wife, but also because of the bullshit lore that gets introduced in this episode, and in return, River slaps him across the face. Because that's an appropriate way to react, isn't it? And then Amy gets involved for some reason, and they actually play the scene out as though the Doctor is doing something wrong for healing his wife's wrist. Like, what the fuck? I mean, like I said, the whole episode is shit anyway, but this scene in particular is fucking abysmal. River is at her most unlikable here, and this is supposed to be well-written character drama? Who in their right mind would write this and think it can pass as good... Oh. You. What a surprise. Speaking of this scene, River's dialogue takes a massive downgrade post-Series 4. We've already discussed how she was overly sexualised, but even when they try and give her deeper scenes to work with, the dialogue is just whack. Like in the library, she'd have all these poetic, meaningful lines of dialogue that felt like they were saying something about her memories of the Doctor.
Now my Doctor, I've seen whole armies turn and run away, and he'd just swagger off back to his TARDIS. The Doctor in the TARDIS. Next stop everywhere.
But in episodes like this, her poetic dialogue just sounds like complete bullshit, and it's so annoying.
When one's in love with an ageless god who insists on the face of a 12-year-old, one does one's best to hide the damage.
What are you talking about? Are you just talking rubbish?
Also, I would just like to add that River claims the Doctor was embarrassing her by using his regeneration energy to heal her, but in Let's Kill Hitler, which is another shit episode by the way, she uses all of her remaining regenerations to save his life. So where exactly is the line again? Oh yeah, and that brings me to the next issue by the way. So in Series 6, River's backstory is revealed, and I'm just going to warn you now folks, it's about to get dumb as fuck with the lore we're going to go through here. So it turns out that Madame Kavarian kidnapped Amy's baby, aka River herself, and trained her to become a Time Lord assassin to kill the Doctor. Why they went to all this effort instead of just having the Silence attack him, honestly I don't know. Especially since most of her attempts at killing him when she finally tries revolve around her just sneakily trying to grab hold of a gun she can use. The only unique kind of attack she does is kissing him with poisonous lipstick, which does start working, but I think it would have been quicker to just have the Silence attack him. And the whole idea of turning River into this assassin that was trained and programmed to kill the Doctor, I just think is so stupid.
You've got all of that to come. You watch us run.
Yeah, you've got all those great memories to come. You know, like the time I tried to kill you several times and then almost succeeded, but then changed my mind, so it's actually okay now.
Oh, well, that's all right then.
Yeah, you know, like the time I slapped you across the face because you healed me. Yeah, we've got such great memories.
If you die here, it'll mean I've never met you. Time can be rewritten. Not those times. Not one line. Don't you dare.
This line suggests that the memories River shares with the Doctor are so precious and meaningful that no one should tamper with them because they matter that much and represent the strength of their relationship. But it all just feels so frivolous and meaningless now because their memories don't seem remotely special at all. Everything that River talks about with such fondness is completely ruined now. Oh, and on top of that, I haven't even talked about the worst part of her lore change yet. And that is... River is now half Time Lord. Now usually I like plot twists of Time Lords hiding in plain sight, but there are two massive problems with this. Number one, I don't think Moffat did this because he genuinely believed it would be a good story. I think he did it for the shock factor and nothing else. Here's why. Firstly, there is nothing in either Series 4 or 5 to give any hints towards this whatsoever, which makes me think that he didn't come up with this idea until writing Series 6, especially since it's never relevant again after this series, and in fact it's not even important in all of this series. It stops mattering as soon as Let's Kill Hitler finishes. The fact that this only mattered for this long, and the way that the scripts try to be all clever with this, just doesn't make it seem like it was ever meant to have any impact besides shocking the audience. And the other big problem with this is that the logic behind it is non-existent. So it turns out that the reason River is half Time Lord and can regenerate is because Amy and Rory conceived her while they were in the TARDIS, and the TARDIS was in the time vortex at the time, which somehow messed with her DNA and made her half Time Lord. Because that's a thing that can just happen now, apparently. This is the same problem as the whole everything you read becomes a fixed point rule from The Angels Take Manhattan. It's a bullshit piece of lore that just gets made up on the spot, doesn't make any sense, and also stops existing as soon as this plot point is done, because it's not a rule that we need anymore. I hate everything about this plot point. It just feels so shoehorned in and forced, like they made River half Time Lord just because they could, and not because it's a genuinely good idea for a story. And with the lack of logic here, I just find it makes River's whole backstory incredibly stupid and frustrating. But the problems extend outside of River herself. Maybe I could be more lenient on the way that River's character is ruined but the problem is that she isn't particularly unique. She is a walking embodiment of all of Moffat's worst tropes, like the over-sexualization for example. Amy was exactly the same in Series 5. Then you've got Tasha Lem, Oswin, Queen Nefertiti, the fucking inbred jokes in the Doctor Falls. Oh, it gets really tiring really quickly. And most of Stephen Moffat's era is like this, not even just with the over-sexualization, but the character assassinations in general. There's so many more than most people realise or remember, but the era was full of them. I think it's time to start admitting that Stephen Moffat and character assassinations pretty much tend to go hand in hand. The Doctor, Clara, Davros and the Daleks are all character assassinated in The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar. You've got the Doctor and Clara in Hellbent, Rassilon in Hellbent, Rory in Asylum of the Daleks, Brigadier in Death in Heaven, the First Doctor in Twice Upon a Time. I could go on and on and on. The way in which River was ruined is very often overlooked by fans in the same way that all these other ruined characters are overlooked. I think it's because in this era of the show, you've got such good performances from people like Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman, who carry the poor writing on their backs, so people often misconstrued this as the era being better than it was. Again, maybe I could be more forgiving of the way they botched River's character so badly if it didn't apply to all these other examples, but ultimately it just gets to the point where enough is enough, because she is nothing more than one in a very, very long line. It's my opinion that River Song is one of the most poorly written characters in all of New Who, and that is nothing short of tragic, because she was introduced as one of the best characters ever created in the show, with such a wonderful relationship with the Doctor that she has nothing but fond memories of. So to see her character be reduced to a Flanderised version of herself with the severe lack of depth and history she shares with the Doctor that only dissipates over time due to how poorly their relationship is further established, and to see her get what is in my opinion a very dumb, convoluted backstory to reveal that she's half Time Lord, only for that to stop mattering almost straight away and ultimately end her time in the show with an underwhelming final appearance in an episode that is overly cartoonish to the point where it's painful, is one of the biggest disservices a character has received on this show as far as I'm concerned. She's just become so void of any emotional weight she once had, and that will always taint what could have been the best side character ever. Most Doctor Who character assassinations are just frustrating or extremely stupid, but Rivers is actively heartbreaking when you think of what she was and what she could have been. Do I object to the fact that she was brought back at all? Not entirely, but a part of me does wonder if what would have been better is to just keep her limited to a one-off appearance and let us imagine what their lives were like together. Trying to show something as significant as what was described in the library two-parter feels like if you tried to show the Time War, if you tried to explain what the Midnight Entity was, or if you showed the Weeping Angels moving... Oh wait. Some things are better left up to interpretation, and it's my opinion that this is one of those things that should have been. And that is why River Song suffered Doctor Who's saddest character assassination. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of River's story in the comments below. Was I too harsh, or did her character suffer as strongly as I said? What character assassinations annoy you? Be sure to let me know. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.